Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about how some people are coping about Dying Light 1. Now, I just want to start off this video by saying I don't care which game you like more. You could like Dying Light 1 more, Dying Light 2 more, maybe you like both equally, or I don't know, hell, you could like either neither or haven't played either, right? As long as you're not like harassing anyone about it, I'm fine with it, bro. So yeah, this is just a video about all like the facts and information shit I've gathered over the course of like a year or so of me owning and playing both Dying Light 1 and 2. So we'll first be starting with the gameplay to avoid giving you like a spoiler jump scare right at the beginning of the video. So I think the first thing we should start off with is like the infected, because while some infected in the second game are really useless howlers, I feel that the variants of the infected are better in Dying Light 2 instead of Dying Light 1, because in the first game with like the freaks in nature and stuff, they were pretty much just resized, reskinned versions of already existing enemies with like a boss bar, right? Whereas the variants in Dying Light 2 actually have unique attacks, like the elemental goons, where they can spread like either fire, some toxins, or electricity around them, or the gorilla demolisher from the Bloody Ties DLC, where he like fucking jumps around and shit to try and get ya, right? So it's like there's also the Inferno freak fight in Bloody Ties, which is like one of the gas tank people, and he breathes fire onto the player, and it's like that's just better than, because while some of them are just like reskinned and resized a bit, at least like they actually do different things now instead of the exact same. And I also kind of want to briefly talk about like humans in like both the games, because I know Dying Light 2 got a lot of criticism about all of the human combat and interaction, right? But it's like at the same time, Dying Light 1 also had a lot of humans and and stuff, so it's like, you know, and plus I feel like human combat is just undeniably better in the second game, because like in the first game, right, when you'd go up against like Rise's men or bandits, right, they could like constantly block your attacks and you couldn't do anything about it, right? And you couldn't block their attacks, so yeah. And plus most of them had guns which like max a level on story mode would still take you out in a few shots, which makes sense because they had ARs, but still, you get what I mean, right? Whereas in Dying Light 2, the renegades and bandits still like block your attacks and stuff, but you could still counter that with like roam blocks and parries. And plus, in Bloody Ties, when you beat that, you get like the Carnage Manica, which is just an item that's used to counter attacks, because like you block and you slowly build up like elemental mods that you can use against them. So yeah, I feel like that's just better. And like finally for gameplay, I want to talk about like your nighttime and encounters in both the games. So in Dying Light 1, if we go over all the encounters that there were, you had like bolters, you could fight Rise's men or bandits. You could either come across an encounter where you kill a Demolisher and a Goon, or if you're in the Fallen DLC, a Demolisher and a Toad. Whereas in Dying Light 2, you still like kind of have all those encounters, right? But just like obviously instead of Rise's men, it's Renegades. But you also come across like stronger versions of the Infected and Renegades, which are legendary counters after you name New Game Plus, which give you like a chance to receive legendary loot. Whereas in the first game, all they really give you was money, right? It's like when you're like kind of late game and you already have like good weapons, money's not as necessary. And so there's also like the encounters that came with the chapter vendors, like the volatile tyrants and hives that you can do during the night, or the hug tracks during the day, which like get you to fight both renegades and like a daytime variant of the Banshee. Now, the nighttime in both games, I'd say, are like pretty much equally as good, especially after the Good Night Good Luck update for Dying Light 2. However, while in Dying Light 1 pretty much all the affected kind of appeared during the day other than like volatiles and bolters, unless like you're playing the following DLC where you just chase down bolters. In Dying Light 2, like the only infected you find on the street are like biters, virals, and maybe like a goon or two, but they're like in like specific areas, the goons. However, in the nighttime, that's when shit hits the fan, because you could find a street with like tons of biters, like a cluster of 3 spitters, and a bunch of roaming volatiles just running around waiting to find you to start a chase, right? Whereas in Dying Light 1, it's like more or less the same, but there's just a little less variety of infect on the street, because for me personally, right, I don't know if this can actually happen, but for me personally, I don't think I've ever found like one of the toads on the streets in Dying Light 1. I could be wrong, so like, you can tell us in the comments if they do or not. So yeah, that should be just about everything for gameplay. So let's now move on to the next section of this video. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I know that Dying Light 2 doesn't have a great story. I know, right? Only brave statements on this channel. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm gonna give some plot points and to a story, and I want you to tell me in the comments whether I'm talking about Dying Light 1 or Dying Light 2, right? Our protagonist is a white male and enters the city from outside the wall, and he enters from outside the walls and barriers around it, on a mission to find the main antagonist, who is also a white male, and get information from them. As they start to enter the city, they get ambushed and bitten, but are then saved by somebody who then dies, right? Once they enter the city, they are given medical care to postpone the inevitable by somebody they've never met before, but later becomes important to the plot of the game. I don't really remember much in this little part after that, so yeah, like you then leave like the more poorer, more town-like area to go to the richer, more city-like area through like an underground system to find some woman with important information that you need. Later, like sometime after that, you climb up a massive tower for communication. Then like other shit happens and you arrive at the antagonist's lair area thing, and a very lackluster boss fight happens, whether that be like quick time events or a fucking annoying 5-stage boss fight, and then the credits roll. So I'll give you some time to think and put it in the comments. Alright, you done? It's a trick question. I'll describe in both games. Crane is a white male GRE agent looking to find a Rise because he stole important information from the GRE, and Aiden is also a white male pilgrim who enters Villedor to find Waltz so he can get information about his quote-unquote sister's whereabouts. Yeah, Crane gets ambushed by like Rise's men in Tahir and is bitten by like a fast biter, even though biters are slow, but it doesn't matter, right? He gets saved by Amir and Jade, but then Amir gets overpowered and eaten by infected, and Aiden gets ambushed and bitten by a volatile, and is then saved by Dylan, who gets fucking massacred by Waltz. Anyway, I'm sure you get what I'm saying. They both have very similar stories and plot points, to like the point where complaining about like some of the story, it's not useless, but it's more like there isn't much of a point to it, you know? Again, I won't deny, Dying Light 2 doesn't have a good story, but it's like kind of no point about complaining about some of the things, because like it's similar if not the same to Dying Light 1. So yeah, anyway, that is the end of the video now. So if you enjoyed, I'd greatly appreciate if you would like and subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in my next video whenever I upload it, because I don't got a schedule, so it could be tomorrow, next year, or never. Bye.